They called it a divine union and answered prayer that would inspire a generation. On the 17th of November 2012, the whole of Lagos seemed to pause for one wedding, the marriage of Pastor David Adesanya's daughter, Tara, to the rising entrepreneur and Christian influencer, Michael Ijoma. The venue was the Rockview Hall in Lekki Phase 1. The air smelled of lily, expensive perfume, and expectation. Everyone who mattered in church circles was their politicians in the front row, gospel artists performing live, photographers angling for the perfect shot. They looked perfect. Tara in her ivory gown, glowing with the gentleness she inherited from her late mother. Michael, tall and self-assured, holding her hand as though they were the physical proof that God still writes love stories. When he looked straight into her eyes at the altar and said, "For better, for worse," his voice trembled like a man overwhelmed by destiny. But destiny in Africa is often a fragile thing, twisted by ego, by appearances, and by the endless noise of what people expect from you. For the first few years, she was living a testimony. Their marriage had the rhythm of a worship song, steady, harmonious, and admired. They moved into a duplex in Chevron Drive, joined the elite set of Lagos Christians who mixed faith with affluence. Every Sunday they sat on the front pew, hands clasped. She ran a women's fellowship while he built a logistics company. Together they were a symbol of what many young couples prayed for. Yet, in the quiet of their home, something subtle had begun to shift. It wasn't sudden, just small moments that didn't make sense, until they formed a pattern. One night, she returned late from a church conference in Ibadan. She was tired, hungry, still glowing from her sermon. Michael didn't greet her with warmth, just a cool glance. "You're getting too popular," he said. "People are beginning to look at you like you're the one carrying the grace." She smiled, thinking he was joking. But his tone wasn't. "Don't forget," he added, "you're my wife first before you're anyone's pastor." That night she couldn't sleep. For the first time, she wondered if his love had conditions. As the months rolled on, the comments increased, about her dressing, about how she spoke, how she laughed too loudly when they had guests. "A virtuous woman doesn't draw attention," he'd say, smiling tightly, especially when other men complimented her intelligence. Michael never raised his voice. He didn't have to. He used words like scalpels, precise, clean, and cutting. And when she flinched, he would pull her close and pray for her. "Lord, give my wife humility. Help her not to be led by emotions or influenced by friends." Tara convinced herself he was right. She had grown up in a world where submission was a measure of faith and endurance was spiritual maturity. Her father used to say, "Marriage is not a bed of roses. It is a garden that must be tended daily." She believed him. So when the loneliness crept in, she tended it with prayer. When she noticed him withdraw, she fasted. When he accused her of nagging, she went silent, believing silence could fix what words could not. Their friends envied them. They had 3 children, Samuel, Stephen, and Sarah. They cut an image that looked untouchable. But inside that house, every picture frame held a memory that felt like a ghost. By 2018, Michael's company had expanded, but so had his absence. He began spending more time in Abuja and Port Harcourt, closing deals. Tara stopped asking questions. The last time she did, he quoted Ephesians 5 and told her to respect her husband's leadership. The church noticed nothing. They saw a couple glowing under stage lights, giving testimonies about God's faithfulness. In Nigeria and many African societies, marriage is mostly a performance art. Everyone plays a part, especially the women. If you are maltreated, you don't cry too loudly. You don't complain. You smile, you post anniversary pictures, you quote scripture, and you survive quietly. And as much as possible, you must hide it from your children, especially if you are the woman. Your children should be the last to know. By 2019, Tara's faith began to tremble. She'd wake at 2 a.m., unable to sleep, staring at the ceiling fan spinning above her. Sometimes she recorded voice notes to herself. "He doesn't hit me," she whispered in one. But sometimes silence feels like a bruise. In another, "If I leave, I'll disappoint everyone. But if I stay, I'll disappoint myself." She deleted most of them, but not all. Around that same period, rumors began circulating among church women. They said Michael was often seen with a light-skinned lady from his office. Tara brushed it off until one night she picked up his phone and saw a message. "I miss your touch." She froze. The next morning she confronted him. He didn't deny it. He just smiled and said, "You shouldn't have touched my phone. That's disrespect." She waited for an apology that never came. Instead, she got a sermon about forgiveness. When she told her father, he sighed deeply. "Tara, marriage is warfare. The devil fights godly homes. Stand firm. Don't bring shame to the church." Shame. That word haunted her. Not sin, not abuse. Shame. The same week, she had to preach at a women's retreat. Her topic was grace in broken places. She spoke beautifully. Women wept. They said she was anointed. None of them knew she was describing her own house. In 2020, the COVID lockdown hit. Everyone was home. The cracks widened. There was nowhere to run. Their arguments became more frequent, though always calm, no shouting. Just cold exchanges and tense silences. She started noticing things. How he looked away when she spoke. How he left the table halfway through meals. He stopped praying with her. And when she asked why, he said, "You've become a distraction to my spirit." Her loneliness became physical, like a weight pressing on her chest. That same year, a church member mistakenly forwarded her an email that was meant for a board discussion. The subject line read, "Concerns about pastor's marriage." Someone had written anonymously to the church elders, "Pastor Michael has been living a double life. Please pray for his wife, Pastor Tara." She never found out who sent it. But 2 weeks later, Michael changed his passwords, stopped taking her calls during trips, and began sleeping in the guest room for spiritual focus. By early 2021, they were living like polite strangers. He would greet her in the morning, ask about the children, and leave. The house help and children noticed. Twice in 1 week, she hit her and threatened to unleash more violence in the coming weeks. She was very frightened, but she kept it in and away from the church and family. More rumors of the man's exploits among 2 mistresses surfaced. Tara hoped and prayed they were mere rumors, but the horror tormented her day and night. He spent more nights outside than at home, perhaps in the bosoms of women of easy virtue. Were they single sisters from the church, widows, divorcees, or lovers picked up from the office or off the street? The fear of knowing almost paralyzed Tara. Her heart hammered in her chest. She called her mom to explain things and sought advice. She told her to ignore rumors and focus on submission to her man. "No marriage is perfect, you know," she said to her daughter. "Learn to manage your man." "That was how I started out with your father." With so much advice from her mom and many other experienced and godly women, Tara held tight to her marriage, enduring the physical, emotional, and psychological abuse and bully. One night, her eldest son asked, "Mom, what's wrong with Dad?" She smiled weakly. "Why? He's been acting weird and annoying. Are you two still cool with yourselves?" She smiled again, but looked at him with a warning stare. It is bad habit for a child to question their parents. That night, she cried until she was sick. She couldn't sleep. The pressure from church grew unbearable, and society. People continued to whisper. They mocked while she's on the altar preaching. Some said she wasn't submissive enough. She was arrogant. Others said she was too quiet. A deacon's wife told her, "If you just respect him more, he'll come around. Men are like kings, you must pet their ego." Pet their ego. That phrase stuck to her like a sore thumb. In July 2021, she stopped sleeping at home. Told everyone she was on a spiritual retreat in Badagry. In truth, she had rented a small serviced apartment in Ikoji under her foundation's name. It was the first time in years she could breathe. No constant corrections, no silent judgment. Just air. The house helped catered to the needs of the children. The husband didn't even care. But freedom, even in small doses, comes with guilt. She felt she was betraying God, betraying her upbringing, betraying her children. Whenever she remembered her father's message on endurance of godly women, her chest tightened. She wondered if endurance was another name for emotional suicide. The echo of the vow for better and for worse also haunted her thoughts daily. In September that year, she met with a therapist her cousin recommended, a quiet woman in Yaba named Dr. Blessing. After 2 sessions, the therapist said something Tara would never forget. "You are grieving the life you were told to live." Grief. That word finally made sense. By December, the separation was official, though private. The church released a vague statement about personal family adjustments. Michael continued leading prayer meetings. He told his inner circle it was a temporary season. No one corrected him. Perhaps they were too tired or busy to read between the lines. Lagos gossip blogs eventually caught wind of it. The headlines were cruel. "Pastor Adesanya's daughter leaves husband. Is this the end of the Christian marriage model?" Comment sections turned into moral courtrooms. Some called her brave. Others said she had become worldly. One comment read, "Look at how she dresses now. You can tell she's backsliding." As if the length of her skirt could explain her pain. Her father was devastated. Her mom commanded her to return to her matrimonial home. No one wanted to see her side of the story. In 2022, she moved fully to Abuja with the children. She started a counseling foundation for women. Her messages changed. No longer sermons about ideal marriage, but about emotional healing, mental health, and faith after trauma. She spoke slowly now, carefully choosing each word like someone learning to walk again. People in the crowd still addressed her as Mrs. Ijoma. She didn't correct them. She had learned to let silence do the explaining. Michael remarried quietly in 2023 to a choir member from the same church. The pictures flooded Instagram. #SecondChanceAtLove. Tara scrolled through them once, her hands shaking slightly. Then she turned off her phone and sat in silence. That night, she opened her old phone, the one she hadn't used since the separation. There were dozens of old voice notes she'd never deleted. In one of them, recorded years ago, she heard her own trembling voice say, "I think something inside me already died. Maybe this is the funeral." She listened again, not with sadness, but with recognition. That version of her was gone, but she was still here. By 2024, her foundation had grown. She began speaking at conferences across Africa, not as a victim, but as a survivor. Her speeches weren't about divorce, they were about truth. She told audiences, God hates abuse, not separation. God hates hypocrisy, not honesty. Stop confusing endurance with faith. Some pastors avoided her after that. Others invited her quietly, behind closed doors, afraid of what their congregations might say. But people listened, especially women who'd been living their own silent hells. Late one evening, after a seminar in Port Harcourt, she received a message from an unknown number. "Tara, hit read. We need to talk. There are things about Michael you don't know." She stared at it for a long time, heart pounding. Then, without thinking, she replied, "Who is this?" No response came. Just a typing indicator that blinked for a few seconds, then disappeared. She didn't sleep that night. The air felt heavy again, like before a storm, because sometimes the past doesn't die, it waits. And for the first time in years, Tara wondered if she had truly escaped the shadows she thought she left behind. Click to watch episode 2, When God is Silent.